In this video, we're going to look at how to use text-to-text AI prompts in Avairto. So we have three text-to-text models available. We have OpenAI, we have Claude, and we have Mistral. And each one of those has models available depending on the platform. So I'm going to start with, let's start with Mistral. Just going to do a very simple text-to-text in between my start and stop. And again, this is as simple of a sequence as you can get. It's got a start node, a stop node, and it does something in between. So I'll click on Mistral text to text. I'm going to choose a model. I'll just choose Open Mistral Nemo, which is incredibly affordable. And for the prompt, I'll say, tell me a joke. Hit save, update, and now when I run that sequence, it'll go out to Mistral, pass it that prompt, tell me a joke, and it comes back with this joke. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta. Okay, so next I'll go back and edit that. That you probably won't give something a hard-coded prompt like this. You'll want to give it some input, right? So I'm going to delete this first connector, drag over human in the loop, which is a form that will pause the animation and wait for some user feedback. And for my human in the loop, I can tell it which question I wanted to ask. I'll just say enter a prompt. And I can make that a text area so that we have a little bit more room to work with. I'll save that. So every node is aware of every other node on the screen, or every node that's already happened. So 6 is going to happen before 5 in this case because human in the loop is closer to start. So I'm going to copy response 6. I right-clicked and clicked on copy response 6, and I'm going to paste that as my prompt here. So whatever I enter into human in the loop, it's going to use that as the prompt in my Mistral text-to-text. And to make that happen, I just set process variables to yes so that it listens for that response variable. I hit save, update, run sequence. So for the prompt this time I'll just say write a poem about dogs. I'll hit submit. So this made it interactive. It makes it so that we can provide it some information up front and then it responds accordingly. So here's this poem about dogs that it's written. Let's do one more thing. Let's go back to our original sequence and we'll look at the other two text-to-text models that are available. So I'm going to break my link and I'm going to drag on OpenAI and also Claude text-to-text. And I'll link those up. So we're going to go from human in the link, or human in the loop, to OpenAI, and then over to Claude, and then over to Mistral, and then we'll stop. So looking at our Mistral setting, our prompt was response 6. Remember, we're pulling that from human in the loop over here. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to use that same prompt on OpenAI. And I'm going to make sure that I set process variables to yes. I'm going to use it again over here on Claude. And process variables equals yes. I'll update to save. So at that point, we're going to give it one prompt, and then it's going to be processed by 3 separate text-to-text models. So I'm going to hit run. And I'll click on start sequence. It asks me for my prompt, and again this will be fed to all 3 of these models, and I'll just say write a short story about a dog from Canada. I'll hit submit. And it starts by reaching out to OpenAI. It passes that prompt to OpenAI text-to-text, and it's going to have OpenAI write a story, and then it'll go to Claude, do the same with Claude, and finally it'll hit Mistral, and Mistral will generate a story and it'll return all 3 stories. Okay, so here's the OpenAI version. Here's the haiku version, Claude, and here's the Mistral version. So pretty cool. And if you wanted to, you could actually go back to it, edit sequence. I could have, I could use a text-to-text prompt as a judge to determine which of the stories is the better story. So let's try it. Let's stack up our stories, and we'll delete this connector, and we'll add a brand new, let's use OpenAI text-to-text. We'll use a little bit better model this time, and we'll have it look at each of these 3 stories and tell us which one it prefers and why. So I'll open up OpenAI text-to-text. For the model, I'm going to choose GPT-4o, which is a better model than 4o mini. For the prompt, I'm going to say, please evaluate the 3 stories. I'll say story 1. Well, I'll say the 3 stories. And choose the best one. Explain your reasoning. You must choose a story. Okay, and we'll say story 1 is going to be our OpenAI story. So I'm going to copy response 7 from ID 7, which is our OpenAI. Story 2 is going to be Claude. And story 3 is going to be Mistral. I want to set process variables to yes. Hit save, update, and now we'll run our sequence. All right, and we'll say again, write a story about a dog from Canada. We'll do the same thing. Submit. And so it's going to first go out and write the 3 stories, then it'll pass all 3 stories to ChatGPT-4o, and it will evaluate the stories and pick the one it likes best and tell us why it chose it. So it's already up to Claude, which is story 2. Should go out to Mistral next. There's Mistral, and now right now it's evaluating and processing, and it should, there it goes. Okay, so here's our GPT-4o mini story. Story 1, here's story 2 from Claude, story 3 from Mistral, and here's our evaluation. So it likes story 3, which is the Mistral version, that's interesting. So the reasoning, engagement and complexity, character development, setting and atmosphere, themes and message, and discusses a little bit, while story 1 and story 2 also have their merits. Story 1 is longer and less focused. Story 2 is shorter, lacks the depth and tension present in story 3. So I haven't read these. I don't know if I would agree, but so GPT-4o is actually picking Mistral over GPT-4o mini and Claude Haiku, which is interesting. So all kinds of things you can do with this, and that's just a sequence that we again created in a couple minutes here, and just tons of different applications for text-to-text prompts.